Scene 1. Setting, the breakfast room of Linda Davis's home with table and chairs. Tuesday, late afternoon. At Rise, Linda, seated, working at a laptop. Tyler enters with flowers.
Flowers?
Nothing too good for my favorite mother.
Logically speaking, I'm also your least favorite mother. They'll be droopy by Friday.
Tyler gets a vase for the flowers.
Maybe there'll be fresh flowers on Friday. How is Marcia?
How long since you've seen her?
A few days. Talked about transcendental poetry and transcendental numbers.
Go see her again. Soon.
I'll go tomorrow, if I can get off lab duty.
Lab duty?
Raskin's new policy. I have to be physically in the lab every day.
Why, are you falling behind?
Finish the boson project early without setting foot in the lab. I hate going there. The postdocs patronize me.
Ken should know about that. I'll have a chat with him.
You don't have to fix it for me or give me advice. I get plenty of that from Annie.
Who's Annie?
Mom, I texted you.
Linda looks for the text.
My friend Annie is coming to meet you at 4. Be nice to her. You never bring girlfriends home. Why is that?
Because I'm embarrassed to be 25 and living with my mother.
You don't live with me. It's a separate building. Why do you say be nice to her?
You attacked the last one. She ran away sobbing.
Not my fault. She couldn't answer a simple question about Mormon theology.
She broke up with me after that.
Just as well.
Try not to argue with Annie.
Is she another Mormon?
More or less the opposite.
The opposite of a Mormon African American? Why would that bother me?
She's not African American.
Whatever she is, my mind is totally open. While we wait, let me give you some relationship advice.
Before you even meet her?
Your relationship with Ken Raskin. Be pleasant. Catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
That's what Annie said. If you treat her like a normal human being, the two of you will get along.
In what way is she not normal? Don't tell me she's a Republican.
No.
Did you meet at the university?
We met in a bar. You met Dad in a bar.
Your father drank too much.
Annie's not an alcoholic.
Tell me more.
She's a PhD student in astronomy. Having trouble with her committee. They're prejudiced.
Is she a member of some minority?
Jewish.
In science, that's practically a majority group.
Annie has a different definition of prejudice.
Wait a minute. Does she have curly red hair?
You've been spying on me?
Just getting something from the shed. I caught a glimpse is all.
I don't monitor your comings and goings.
Sorry I mentioned it.
The doorbell rings.
Come on in, we're back here.
Annie enters. She does not have curly red hair.
Hello. Annie, this is my mother.
Linda, pleased to meet you.
Pleasure's mine. I've been looking forward to it.
Wish I could say the same.
You didn't want to meet me?
I'm happy to meet you, but I just now learned of your existence. Can I get you a glass of wine, a beer?
No, thank you.
Tyler says you're at the university in astronomy.
Astrophysics? Did he say anything else?
He told me you're not African American, not Republican, and not a Mormon.
Sounds like you were playing 20 questions.
Also, you're Jewish and a victim of prejudice from your committee. That surprises me. I'm at the university myself in neurobiology.
I know that. Dean of the Division of Biological Sciences.
A distinction I look forward to escaping next month.
I thought you were staying another year.
They asked me to. I said, thank you, I've been tortured long enough.
Tortured?
Do you know what a dean's job is? Having meetings with unhappy people. Because of my job, their unhappiness becomes my problem. Making one person happy makes another person unhappy. I can't keep up with it.
I don't buy that. Mom's not a people person. Ironically, her specialty is mirror neurons, the part of the brain that gives human empathy for each other. World expert on empathy.
Is it because you're a woman? 30 years ago, I was the only woman in my department.
Astronomy at Berkeley is majority female. I use the word prejudice to describe preconceived opinions with no factual basis. Like when Galileo said the Earth goes around the sun, the scientific establishment persecuted him. I call that scientific prejudice.
I call that ancient history. Everything changed because of Galileo and the scientific revolution.
Mom doesn't realize when you first meet a person, you don't have to argue.
My son is somewhat averse to intellectual disputation.
You said you'd be nice.
Annie, are you about to run out of the room crying?
Not hardly. The scientific revolution changed the way we language our discussions without changing the way we think. There's just as much scientific prejudice now.
Maybe at second-rate universities, but not at Berkeley.
Especially at Berkeley. You know the party line about dark matter? 80% of the matter in the universe. All that research money in physics and astronomy goes straight to dark matter. Such a waste. Dark matter was discovered when astronomers found a problem with galactic rotation, and they said, oh golly, according to the law of gravity, there has to be something else holding these galaxies together. And the key phrase is, according to the law of gravity.
Are you casting aspersions on Newton's universal law of gravitation?
Let me put it to you like this. If your equation doesn't describe the world, do you adjust the equation or do you adjust the world? The scientific establishment got around their problem by inventing 4 universes worth of imaginary stuff. Also, they could avoid an easy, well-documented adjustment to one equation.
Totally crazy, right?
Physicists ask, what is dark matter made of? Truth be told, dark matter is made of prejudice.
I take it your unorthodox position is delaying your PhD?
9 years and counting.
You're a stubborn person, aren't you?
When it's important.
Are you busy Friday evening? Tyler and James are taking me to dinner.
For her birthday.
You remind me of my best friend. She's a nonconformist.
Will she be there?
Unfortunately, she's dying of cancer.
Marcia's famous for trying to convince priests that God doesn't exist.
She's actually famous for her study of Elizabethan literature.
Also an entertaining atheist. You'd enjoyed arguing with her.
Oh, are you religious, Annie?
I'm not religious, but I am spiritual. I meditate every day.
I'm a Jewish and Buddhist.
Different religions have different insights. I like the narrative of multiple rebirths with a Bardo period in between.
Afterlife is the essential lie of religion. Live your life by our rules or bad things will happen after you die.
You're pretty feisty. Most people are too polite to discuss religion.
Not my mother, unfortunately.
Do you actually believe in reincarnation?
I keep an open mind on everything. I read tarot cards, I do scrying.
Scrying?
Basically, gazing into a bowl of water. Free associating on what you see. I think of it like jazz improv.
Show me.
What are you doing?
I have a sense of curiosity like Annie. This is how people get to know each other. First, Annie will do some scrying, and then I'll explain brain physiology.
Don't fall for it. It's a trick.
I trust her.
What do you need?
A shallow bowl of water.
Linda gets a bowl of water.
I don't take it too seriously, it's just for fun.
Let's all have fun. Do we hold hands?
If I like. I'm gonna close my eyes and take a few breaths to center my energy.
Fabulous. I'll close my eyes and center my energy too.
Are you being sarcastic?
Quiet, please.
Annie closes her eyes and breathes. She chants, Om. She opens her eyes and tilts her head to get a good angle on the water surface.
Now let my soul begin to speak. The water moves and then it's still. It's underway, it's overdue, a scientific point of view of things unseen and things unknown. There are more things in heaven and earth, after death and after birth. More time will only make you late. You want to know, you have to wait. It's just another sad display. It's worse than mediocrity. To know the reason, know the rhyme. It's underway, it's overdue. I see the number 42. Your friend would like to speak with you. The things you say when no one's there. There are more things in heaven and earth. The galaxy is deep and wide. The groom becomes a blushing bride. When all is lost, we start again. Your friend would like to speak to you. It makes them all uncomfortable. There's someone knocking at the door.
As soon as she says this, there's a knock at the door. Linda goes to answer it.
How did you do that?
Linda returns with James.
Timely arrival, James. Annie was showing us how to predict the future.
Hi, I'm Annie.
No, I'm James. Linda's heartthrob.
Heartthrob. I would say current infatuation.
Oh, she only wants me for my body.
Annie was scrying. She said, there's someone knocking at the door, right before you knocked on the door.
Ooh. Have you always had a sixth sense?
It's a coincidence.
Have you had other coincidences like this, Annie?
Sometimes. I once predicted a marriage proposal.
Ah. Out of curiosity, did you mention any numbers while you were scrying?
Oh, she said, I see the number 42. I did not say it like that.
Interesting. Any other numbers?
You know what 42 reminds me of?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
What's that?
A sci-fi commentary on modern society. There's a joke about the number 42 running around through the whole series.
Humans want to know the ultimate answer to everything. So they build a computer that works for centuries and finally says the answer is 42.
It doesn't make sense, right? If 42 is the answer, then what's the question?
So they build another computer to figure out the ultimate question, which is, ta-da!
What is 6 times 9?
Wait a minute, 6 times 9 isn't 42, it's 54. Is the joke that the computer got it wrong?
There's been a lot written about that. There's even been academic conferences.
54 can be written as 4 times 13 plus 2, which means if you're using base 13 math, 6 times 9 is actually 42.
The reason we use base 10 is that we have 10 fingers.
And if we had 13 fingers, we'd use base 13. Maybe the secrets of the universe are somehow hidden in base 13, and that's why it's the ultimate answer. When I was a kid, I used to tape popsicle sticks on my hands as extra fingers. Then I would do math in base 13.
You were a weird kid.
Now we're getting somewhere. So, start with 42. That gets us 13. How about a couple more numbers, Annie? How old are you?
He always asks that, you don't have to say.
I'm 31 years old.
James uses the numbers to buy lottery tickets.
Would you be willing to say, let's see, clothing size?
That's kind of personal, don't you think? Why, what do you want? Pant size, dress size, bra size?
Don't encourage him, Annie.
Aside from playing the lottery, what else do you do?
Fitness centers.
You mean you work out a lot?
No. I buy fitness centers, build up the membership, then sell them. What part of town do you live in?
Temescal.
My newest club. This card gets you a free month and qualifies you for a friends and family rate. How much are you paying now?
James gives Annie a card.
Nothing. I work out at the campus rec center.
Are you a brainiac like these two?
Annie's an astronomer. One day she'll be famous for her gravity research.
Oh, like Linda. Spends the whole day at a desk doing nothing. Very unhealthy.
Not doing nothing. We're reading, analyzing data, theorizing.
Sitting in a chair, staring at a screen, moving your fingers. How is that different from a video game? Before you know, you'll be obese, get heart problems, and die. The body's a machine. You don't use it, it stops working. You all live in your brains, but you're dying in your bodies. Give me your phone.
You don't have to do it.
Annie unlocks her phone and hands it to James.
You're not going to put pornography on it, are you?
It's an app that makes you stand up from your desk every hour. Tyler, let me put it on your phone too.
That's okay.
Linda's healthier since she started using it, aren't you, babe?
Oh, yes, I am.
Linda's phone rings. She answers it.
Hello? Oh. Okay. Thank you for calling.
Is it Marcia?
She died a few minutes ago.
I'm so sorry.
She was a wonderful lady.
Can't believe she's gone. I mean, I knew she was going to die, but now it's happened. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think.
James hugs Linda.
She must have been a very special person.
Marcia's the reason Mom chose Berkeley instead of Harvard.
She was brilliant. She'd walk into a room and understand exactly what was going on before anybody said a word, and she was fearless.
Like you.
Not like me. I pretend to be that way, but I'm not. I'm afraid all the time. I'm afraid of her not being around. Who am I going to talk to? I need her to help me deal with the fact that she's not here.
I should leave.
I'll come with you.
Annie and Tyler exit. James hugs Linda. Lights out. Scene 2. Setting, Tyler's room, 2 hours later, women's clothes scattered around. At Rise, Tyler and Annie chatting, Annie drinking a beer.
Was Marcia the one who bought you all these books?
And after I read them, we discussed them. Then she'd find the perfect next book. When kids in school were struggling to write essays, it was easy for me because of those discussions.
You must have loved her.
I used to imagine she was my real mother.
Your real mother's pretty impressive.
You totally freaked her out by predicting James's knock. Did you hear his footsteps or something?
It's not conscious. Maybe I sensed his aura. He's got a very strong aura.
I never know how much you believe this stuff and how much you're putting me on. But you might want to tone it down around Mom.
Pretend to be conventional and unimaginative.
Don't inhibit yourself. Just, consider whether something might upset her.
You haven't told her about me, have you?
You can't just tell her things. You have to get her attention first.
How?
I don't know. Schedule a meeting with an agenda.
You're never going to tell her.
I absolutely will. Next time I see her.
Why did she offer me a drink as soon as I said hello?
I have no idea. Stop being so sensitive. I haven't said anything about that being your third beer.
You just said something.
Sorry.
Tyler puts on a pair of heels and walks across the room in a distinctive way.
Remind you of anybody?
Tiffany? That's her to a T. How'd you do that?
I watched somebody and sensed the movement in my body.
Can you do me?
No. Nobody but you can move so gracefully and elegantly.
That's sweet.
Annie and Tyler kiss.
What are you wearing to Divas? It's lip sync night.
This?
No, looks cheap.
This.
You kidding?
What if I start with the feather boa? What would go with that?
Nothing goes with a feather boa. Throw it in the trash. You should throw out half this stuff. Smells like a thrift store.
You said you find good stuff in thrift stores.
But it can't be your whole wardrobe. If you want to pass, you have to buy regular clothes, like regular people.
I'll never be able to pass.
You could if you work at it. Don't you want to go somewhere besides Divas?
I don't have feminine features.
That's why God invented makeup. 90% of it's self-confidence.
I don't have self-confidence.
It's gotten way better. First time you were so nervous, you stared at the floor all night. Now you laugh, you dance, you talk to strangers.
I'm still terrified of somebody recognizing me.
And what if they do? Do I worry when people find out I'm trans?
Trans is different, higher status. Cross-dressers are about one step above pond scum.
Let me break it to you. There's a little bit of hostility towards trans people.
I'm not trying to diminish what you've suffered, but you're the star, like a cult goddess at Divas. I'm like some tourist who snuck in.
You're in a room full of men dressed as women, and you're afraid they look down on you for being dressed as a woman. Besides, you look great.
The hip pads you got me do make a big difference.
On looks, you totally pass. We just gotta work on your voice.
Annie, my project for you,
What do you mean?
like when somebody buys a house that needs fixing up, are you dating me to refurbish me? You could get any guy. I'm always scared you'll find someone better than me.
Did you know today's our 6-month anniversary?
Annie gives him a package.
I really want to thank you.
You haven't opened it yet.
I mean, for the way you've helped me change. All my life I've tried to hide under the radar, afraid that people will find out I'm different.
Everybody feels that way a little bit.
When I'm with you, being different it feels like something to be proud of. Seriously. Thank you.
Annie gives him a kiss.
You're such a cute little girl. Open the present.
Tyler opens the package to find an article of clothing.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful.
The minute I saw it, I knew it was you.
It's nicer than anything I have. What can I wear it with?
Tyler holds up a sequined bustier.
What are you trying to say with the sequins?
What do you mean?
The sequins are okay in the right context, but these sequins in this bustier, it says desperation.
I just have to accessorize it.
Tyler holds up something else.
With this, you cannot be serious.
Annie takes the item and throws it off stage. Lights out. Scene 3, setting, breakfast room, late Friday morning. At Rise, Linda and Tyler enter, dressed for a funeral.
Marcia's sisters don't look like her at all.
She always said the stork left her with the wrong family.
She used to teach me stuff when she took me to the zoo. Did you know the tiny little hyrax is genetically speaking, the elephant's closest relation?
You've told me that. I can't believe they held a Catholic mass.
Maybe her sisters didn't know how she felt about religion.
Everyone knew. That service was more like an insult than a tribute to her.
Tonight with James and Annie, we should tell some Marcia stories. It should have been you giving the eulogy instead of some priest who barely knew her and probably didn't like her.
I didn't realize you heard the eulogy.
I was right next to you.
Looking at that piece of paper, the priest could tell you weren't paying attention. He glared at you, not that you noticed.
Sorry, I was listening. The priest said, although she was not traditionally observant, and at that moment I had a lightning bolt to the brain.
That sounds bad.
If I hadn't been in church, I would have jumped up and shouted, Eureka! I would have tap danced down the aisle. I would have blown kisses to the universe. Under the circumstances, I think I was remarkably restrained.
You should have been sitting there feeling bored with the rest of us.
Marcia will forgive me. It's an amazing insight from Annie's scrying session.
What part of it?
Remember my witty comment about how the secrets of the universe might reveal themselves if we did our calculations in base 13?
I hope you're not saying the number base makes a difference in actual physics.
Not quite, but something almost as goofy.
Ken Raskin isn't fond of goofy.
Not talking about his stuff. Talking about string theory.
Oh, please.
Believe it or not, my new insight addresses your basic objection.
That string theory is pseudoscience, totally unrelated to actual physics?
That it can't be tested. Millions of versions of string theory and no way to prove or disprove any of them. Prepare to be amazed. Your genius son has come up with an experiment.
Thought experiment or real experiment?
Real experiment, but it's unconventional. You know how we represent physical dimensions with perpendicular axes? The x, y, and z axes are always perpendicular to each other. In string theory, we use 11 dimensions, all assumed to be perpendicular, but they don't have to be.
Why would they not?
Tyler illustrates with his hands the idea of two things being at right angles, and then not quite at right angles.
If they're not, depending on the axes and the angles, certain asymmetries become apparent. Suddenly we have differences, testable differences, among different formulations of string theory.
According to you.
It's going to work. And you know what else is great? In physics, we don't say the word perpendicular. We say the word normal. So basically what I'm doing is I'm inventing a whole new physics that is non-normal. You could call it abnormal physics. I'm getting rid of the rule that everything has to be normal. Great, huh?
What would you like me to say?
You could say you're happy for me. How about that?
I'm happy for you.
Even though you're not saying it, I can hear it.
Hear what?
But, I'm happy for you, but, if you're going to think it, you might as well say it out loud.
I don't want to burst your bubble.
Too late now. Say it.
One small point. Branding your idea as abnormal physics would be unhelpful.
In what way?
Gathering support. Hard enough to get people to take you seriously without sounding like a deviant political group.
Noted. I will not advertise that part of it, but you can see why I'm over the moon with this.
Accurate description.
What?
It's fine, as long as it doesn't interfere with your real work.
Be serious. A breakthrough like this. I bet Albert Einstein's mother didn't talk to him that way, or Marie Curie's mother.
Marie Curie's mother probably told her, be careful with those radioactive materials, Marie. But she didn't listen, and look what happened.
Very funny.
I'm happy you can still be overwhelmed by scientific passion. It's been a while.
You don't seem happy.
You remember the other project we did when you went through your base 13 phase?
You forced me to memorize the periodic table at the same time I was memorizing base 13 multiplication.
Using that energy for a useful purpose. You agreed it was time well spent.
I don't like where you're going.
You were in grade school. There was no downside to your sudden enthusiasms. In high school, your counter-rotating magnets cost a little in terms of grades, but it was still a net positive.
First time you've admitted that.
Now, as a graduate student, you're dealing with genuine consequences. The wrong move now could undo the benefit you've gained from your hard work.
I think I've heard this lecture.
You haven't heard this part. I've avoided bringing it up because I didn't want to sully your opinion of your father.
What do you mean?
He was a wonderful man. You inherited his best features: charm, a sense of humor, creativity.
There's another but coming.
His impetuosity, his biggest problem. You know the story of him quitting the shoe store.
To begin his career in music, he said quitting the shoe store was the second happiest day of his life. The happiest day being the day he met you.
Very romantic. He didn't mention that when he quit his job, I was 8 months pregnant and struggling to finish my doctoral thesis.
He used to say it was difficult at first.
Enormous understatement. While you were in diapers, he was out on tour playing one-night stands in bars and VFW halls.
He sent money home every week.
Not enough to even cover the rent. While he was out chasing his dream, I was scrambling to keep us fed and clothed and trying to establish myself academically.
I didn't know that.
His musical career wasn't his last flight of fancy. He almost ruined us more than once. Your father was pathologically impractical.
Pathologically?
Which is why it worries me to see you heading down a similar path. It makes me wonder why now? Why are you suddenly reverting to the kind of frivolous pursuit you've avoided for years?
What's frivolous about a discovery that could revolutionize physics?
The most obvious change is your relationship with a person who styles herself as a revolutionary who wants to overturn Einstein and Newton.
You're familiar with the phrase buzzkill.
You were always an impressionable child. You have an active amygdala, which helps you pick up on attitudes, ideas, and assumptions from your environment. Someone with a strong personality is able to take advantage of you.
I can't believe this. You wonder why I don't tell you about my life? Why I don't bring my girlfriends home? You think your behavior might have something to do with it?
It interests me that you react to my observations as if I were attacking you.
What would you call it?
Giving you information. True, the information about your father is unwelcome, but at this point in your life, you need to know the truth, not shy away from it.
Maybe that goes for you too.
You're not being attacked, you're learning something you didn't know before.
Really? Is this how you react when you're told something new and unpleasant? You don't respond by questioning it and raising objections?
I've learned from experience that there's no point in fighting reality. Getting angry doesn't help. The world is what it is. Accept it and move on.
You just say, oh well, I guess I was wrong, no big deal.
That's a theoretical question. I'm so seldom wrong about anything.
Very funny.
Seriously, Tyler, I'm sorry to have to tell you all this. Just give it time to sink in. You'll thank me eventually.
Maybe I can do better than thank you. Maybe I can let you in on something you don't know about. Something you will find repugnant and hard to believe. Give you a chance to demonstrate your exemplary acceptance of reality.
Why do I feel like you're threatening me?
Oh, no. This is not a threat. But you might want to prepare yourself. I'm going to have a birthday surprise for you.
Lights out. Scene 4, setting, breakfast room, Friday afternoon, Linda's birthday. At Rise, Linda and James at the table. James has a ukulele at hand.
No, I don't want to go for a walk.
Okay. Let's try that harmony again.
James strums a chord on the ukulele and maybe sings a line or two.
Stop suggesting. Okay?
What are we thinking about?
Do you know what Marcia's last words were?
I didn't think anyone was with her when she died.
Her last words to me, when I visited that morning. She was mildly euphoric. She talked about the first time we met, her work on the sonnets, something Tyler once said about his heart beating faster when he was happy.
Think it was an end-of-life rally?
I think that now, but at the time I didn't see it. I just enjoyed it. As I left, she said, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy." And then she winked and smiled. It seemed odd. Marcia was unreservedly rationalist, but she quoted a line that's used to justify spirituality and mysticism.
She was always full of surprises.
You weren't there for Annie's scrying session.
And yet, I benefited. $1,400.
Really? You didn't say anything.
I usually don't talk about my lottery wins. You can sometimes be a buzzkill.
On what?
On that particular topic. Agree to disagree, right?
Tyler used the same pejorative. He also said he'd have a surprise for me. I hate that word.
Ooh, that's what you're worried about.
I'm afraid he's going to announce he's engaged to Annie.
Would that be bad? She seems nice. They have a lot in common.
Too much in common. They reinforce each other's weaknesses. Something about that girl isn't exactly normal. I can't put my finger on it.
She's coming over tonight, right?
I'm afraid she's trying to hoodwink me, though I cannot understand how she could have done it, nor why she would want to. When she scried, she said, "There are more things in heaven and earth." That got my attention. And after that, she said, "Your friend would like to speak to you." This was at the moment Marcia was dying.
Son of a bitch.
There's no way she could have known Marcia's final words. I never told Tyler or anybody.
Coincidence? It's a popular Shakespeare quote.
The probability is vanishingly small.
Which leaves the explanation that she really is psychic.
Equally ridiculous.
Maybe. But I'm going to get some more numbers out of her.
This is what leads to superstition and irrationality replacing logic and science. It disturbs me that your first impulse is to go in that direction. You disappoint me.
Really? Well, I have a question for you. A question of science.
Proceed.
If a researcher, say someone in your lab, they get data from an experiment that goes against their hypotheses. So, then they throw away the results and pretend it didn't happen. What would you say to that?
Not the same. Annie's scrying wasn't an experiment. If it were, I would repeat it. But as we all know, this mystical flim-flam is entirely unreproducible. I would add that as my friend, at a time when I'm clearly troubled by many problems, including the death of someone dear to me, you are not acting in a very supportive manner.
James performs the James gesture, a distinctive embrace/expression of affection.
Oh, sweetie.
What are you doing? What is this?
A special hug. I made it up just for you. How does it make you feel?
Comforted. Warm. Soothed, like you're protecting me. I feel relaxed, like I can breathe more deeply.
There's a knock at the door.
Come in.
Annie enters.
Hi, Annie. Where's Tyler?
You said meet him here. Hello, James.
Are you sure you never met Marcia?
Yeah,
Do you read Shakespeare?
I have a book of sonnets.
Everybody has a few Shakespeare quotes running around their head. What's yours?
Not from the stars do I my judgment pluck, and yet methinks I have astronomy, but not to tell of evil or good luck.
That's nice. Anything from Hamlet?
Don't really have time for theater. Listen, I wanted to ask, did Tyler talk with you about me?
Yes. This morning.
You're okay with it?
To be frank, it makes me uneasy.
What are you guys talking about?
I guess Linda hasn't told you. I'm transgender.
What?
Oh! He didn't tell you, did he?
No.
Then what were you talking about?
That your iconoclasm is a threat to his career?
Wait. You said transgender, right?
Yes.
Like, you used to be a man.
That's what the word means, James.
Are you putting us on? It's hard to imagine. I mean, you're so feminine.
I'll take that as a compliment.
How did you and Tyler get together? Did he know you were trans?
James, you're being rude.
One thing I know, people are curious. If they don't get to talk about it up front, they keep thinking about it. Here's the deal. For 5 minutes, you can ask me anything you want. After that, it's back to being polite.
Anything.
Yes?
Okay. How did you and Tyler meet?
We met in a bar. I said, can I join you? He was surprised. He said, are you here with someone? And I said, no. We had a few drinks and one thing led to another.
Did you have sex the first time you met?
Yes, we did.
Okay. How shall I put this? The first time, was it awkward working out the details?
Very discreet, James. You really want to know if I have a penis, don't you?
You said I could ask any.
First thing people want to ask. Since this is your special 5 minutes, it's okay. I had what's called gender confirmation surgery. If you saw me naked, you'd think I was born female.
When did you tell Tyler you were trans?
Didn't have to. He knew right away.
How?
I'll leave that part of the story for him.
You were born with a male body, and you're interested in men. Why would that make you transgender? Wouldn't it just make you gay? Explain me the logic.
Gender and logic. Logic and gender, the two subject areas where people want clean, simple answers. Ironically, both of them are irredeemably ambiguous.
Logic's not ambiguous. The whole point of logic is solving ambiguity.
You're forgetting Gödel's theorem.
I don't know what that is.
Gödel proved that any logical system is either contradictory or incomplete. Basically, that logic is ambiguous.
Logic's inherent ambiguity has frustrated generations of mathematicians. Gender's inherent ambiguity has frustrated generations of social conservatives.
How does that answer my question?
I have a question.
Give it to me.
You people are reputed to be better at fellatio. Are you?
Us people. Fellatio? Are you asking because you're curious or because you're trying to be offensive?
To be honest, it's a little of both.
Fair enough. Better than what?
Better than gay men? Better than cisgender women, is it true?
I try to provide a rewarding experience. But as the provider, I can't rate myself objectively.
I assume you get feedback from your, shall we say, consumers?
Purely anecdotal. To get a real answer, we got to approach it scientifically.
Scientifically.
The obvious solution is a blind study. Tell me, Lennon, do you consider yourself a reasonably adept bellatrix for a cisgender woman?
I like to think so.
Then all we need is a blindfold and a discerning volunteer.
I'm going to leave.
Are you saying the proposal doesn't arouse your interest?
Sit down, James. We're just fooling with you.
Tell me why you want to offend me. You're going to have to try harder if you want me to run away crying.
I worry about your relationship with Tyler. That you're leading him astray. What are your plans for the relationship?
Between me and Tyler, don't you think?
Maybe this could fall in my special 5 minutes, a replacement for the fellatio question.
Kind of off topic.
Tell me one thing at least. What's the surprise?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is he announcing your engagement?
Absolutely not. I don't know anything. Oh, no.
Tyler enters dressed convincingly as a woman. He's wearing a curly red wig. He parades across the room, confusing James, who doesn't know who this person is, shocking Linda, who didn't know he was a crossdresser, and embarrassing Annie, who didn't know he was going to do this.
What?
A friend of yours, Annie?
Tyler strikes poses.
A friend with horrible judgment. I thought the plan was to take your mother out to dinner.
That's the plan.
Tyler? That's Tyler?
Taking her to a restaurant or a nightclub. You're a little overdressed, don't you think?
Don't just stand there with your mouth hanging open, Mother. Use your words.
This is bizarre. Explain the meaning of this.
Not my idea.
This has nothing to do with Annie.
How can you say that when you're wearing her clothes?
Wrong. These are my clothes, my own personal collection. I have many lovely outfits. I call this one, Mother Gets a Surprise. Do you find it disturbing?
A little.
A lot. You see, Annie, my mother suffers from the delusion she knows everything about me.
You were always a secretive child.
I had to be. Self-defense.
How long have you harbored the desire to change sex?
One does not change sex, one changes gender. At least get the vocabulary right.
How long have you harbored a desire to change gender?
Wrong again. I have no desire to change them.
Then what is the point of this costume? Is it some kind of statement about Annie's transgenderism?
You told her?
You should have warned them. We should have warned them before you showed up like this.
Then I wouldn't have seen the look on your faces when I made my entrance. It was fabulous. I wish I had a photo. Listen, I'm gonna go out and come in again. You guys act like you're seeing me for the first time.
Tyler takes a phone from his purse, exits, and re-enters, taking photos.
Everybody ready? Okay, look shocked. No, that's not right. We look all serious.
Stop fooling around.
Wait. James is getting into the spirit. Look at that face. Let me get a close-up.
Get away from me, Tyler.
James doesn't like the way I'm dressed.
You look like a hooker on San Pablo Avenue.
Oh, maybe he does like the way I'm dressed. Is that a banana in your pocket?
Don't be disgusting.
Don't worry, James. Your little secret is safe with me.
Tyler goes closer. James pushes him away. They start shoving each other. Annie separates them.
Enough! He started it.
Oh, you come in trying to piss everybody off. Well, you succeeded. Happy now?
James poses aggressively. Annie gets in front of him and assumes a martial arts stance.
Back off. You tell him, Annie. She's going to kung fu your ass.
Shut up, Tyler. Apologize to James.
I apologize for exposing your latent homophobia.
You can do better than that.
I'm sorry for trying to embarrass you.
James, you apologize now.
I'm sorry for saying you look like a hooker. You look pretty good. But the wig is bad.
What's wrong with it?
The color.
Wrong for his skin tone. Good eye, James.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let us get back to Tyler's assertion that he does not want to change gender.
Why would you think so? I just enjoy dressing in women's clothes. It's like a hobby.
Do you enjoy having sex with men?
No. Obviously.
Tyler gestures towards Annie, meaning this is who I have sex with, a woman. Linda and James consider this, but it's not so obvious to them.
Dating Annie means you're attracted to women? Are you only attracted to transgender women?
All women. Always have been.
Dressing like a woman might get men to want sex with you, but it wouldn't attract a woman. Explain the logic.
Remember our talk about logic and gender? This is one of those things.
It makes no sense at all.
Why are you showing me this? You want my approval?
I know you don't approve. I'm showing I'm not ashamed of who I really am.
A matter of self-expression, then? How far do you plan to take it?
You're worried about my reputation, aren't you?
You should be too.
This is the key, Annie. It freaks her out to see me dressed, but that's not what puts her into a demented frenzy.
She doesn't look frenzied to me.
She gets this way when she's not in control. My mother treated child rearing as a controlled experiment.
No mother would say there's anything controlled about it.
Remember what I asked for on my 11th birthday, Mom?
Your first chemistry set.
You bought me a chemistry set. I asked for a guitar. I wanted to learn Dad's songs.
Right after his death, I didn't want you obsessing about him. I would have gotten a guitar for you for your next birthday if you had asked.
A little nudge to steer the boy into a productive career. Annie, you know about 3D printers. Tell James how they work.
I know what a 3D printer is.
It deposits thin layers of shape. Whatever you program in, that's what comes out. To manufacture me, my mother used the template Good Little Scientist. She used to put index cards in my lunchbox with scientific aphorisms. Mathematics is the language with which God has written the universe. That's Galileo. Every day, another index card with a handwritten quote. Each day, another microscopic layer to the little scientist my mother was developing.
Doesn't sound that bad to me.
The shape she chose for me wasn't the person I truly am. You should be able to relate to that, Annie.
What is your true self? Do you want to be a musician? You never listen to music.
I want to be a scientist, but on my own terms, not my mother's.
What is that supposed to mean?
Annie, the 3D printer is also her approach to science. Start with an established concept and add tiny little enhancements over and over. Never challenge the doctrine, don't step on any toes. That's how she operates, and it's how her buddy Ken Raskin operates.
That's what this is about?
It's why she disapproves of your theory of dark matter. It's why she disapproves of string theory. She's hostile to anyone who tries to stir things up.
You're the one being hostile. Stop addressing your comments to me. If you want to criticize your mother, talk directly to her.
Your sexual inclinations are your own business. I don't know how you got this way. Maybe I could have been a better mother.
Don't blame yourself, Linda.
When it comes to science, I gave you the benefit of my experience. I wanted you to succeed.
It comes down to your definition of success and failure. Shall I tell you what my definition of failure is, Mother? Failure is a scientist who does nothing of importance and still gets their grants renewed like clockwork because you suck up to your buddies on the committee. Failure, in short, is you. Sacrificing your life on that altar of incremental science. I'm not going to do that. Did you ever want to do something revolutionary? Groundbreaking? No. The idea scares you. You're against religion, afraid of innovation, afraid of radical ideas. You're so rational and conventional that it makes you provincial, unimaginative, and in the final analysis, stupid.
Linda slaps Tyler in the face.
What the hell is wrong with you?
It's my birthday.
You think you're so goddamn smart, but you haven't the sense God gave a goose. That woman devoted her life to you, and this is how you repay her?
My best friend just died.
She didn't devote her life to me. She devoted it to science. Human beings aren't part of the equation. Let me tell you something, James.
Stop right there.
I'm just getting started.
I don't think so.
Annie physically forces Tyler to the door of the room.
Thanks for getting me out of there. I'm shaking like a leaf.
You seem to be enjoying
My
yourself.
heart is pounding. I've always imagined this moment.
You've imagined what? An inept revelation of cross-dressing followed by a vicious attack on your mother?
I may have gotten a little carried away.
Your mother is in there sobbing.
Actually, that's sort of good. She has trouble expressing feelings. She never cried when my father died.
How do you know?
Well, I never saw her cry.
So your conclusion to this ugly scene is, hooray, my mother's in touch with her feelings?
I'm sorry she's upset, but I'm upset too.
Oh, poor Tyler.
Why are you mad at me?
What the hell were you thinking?
This was like my Declaration of Independence. I'm not going to let her view of the world dictate my life.
So that you don't become a provincial stupid failure like her? I'm glad I was here for this. You've been planning this, quote, a Declaration of Independence for a while, haven't you? When you met me, you expected your mother would object to a transgender girlfriend?
I don't know.
You thought we'd fight with each other. You wanted us to fight. That didn't work, so you came up with this.
You're reading too much into it.
I've been used before. Some men hook up with me to satisfy a fantasy or because they want to feel superior, but I have never been used as a weapon against someone's mother.
Not a weapon, more like a crutch to give me confidence. Help me understand who I am.
Tell me who you are. A narcissistic prima donna who turns against the people who love him, or maybe an emotionally stunted child who can nurse a grudge year after year.
Be fair. I'm suffering. You can see that, can't you?
Who am I in your little scheme?
The woman I love.
You want me to prop you up and be a substitute mother. After you reject your real mother, we'll change that plan. I've had it.
Why don't we go somewhere, have a drink, and talk about this quietly?
Why don't you pull your head out of your own ass? You and me, we're finished.
You don't mean that.
I don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to hear from you. No apology text messages with the little sad faces. No email, no nothing.
Come on, be reasonable.
I mean it. We are finished, starting now. Get out of my sight. Now!
Lights out. Scene 5, setting, 3 days later, Annie's apartment. At Rise, Linda is sitting alone. Annie enters with a cup of tea and a pot of honey, which she places in front of Linda.
Thank you.
I was surprised you contacted me.
I needed to talk.
I don't know how helpful I'll be, though it gives me a way to respond without acknowledging his constant barrage of texts and emails. Tell him for me, the more persistent he is, the
I'm
less
not here on Tyler's behalf.
You're not?
I actually want a tarot reading.
Really? You know what I think? You're trying to figure out why Tyler ripped into you the other night, and you figure I can give you a clue. Tell me I'm wrong.
Partly right. I am looking for information, but not about Tyler. About myself. I'm unsettled in a way that I've never experienced. I don't know who I am. And I don't know if that's good or bad.
I feel you.
This tea is delicious.
Most people try to drown it with honey. They find the ginger taste too sharp.
I like sharp. I think that's what I like about you.
I can't tell if you're blowing smoke or what.
If you knew me better, you'd know duplicity is not in my skill set. I do like you, despite my efforts not to.
Why would you want to dislike me?
You upset me. You make me reconsider my worldview.
Odd reaction to me being transgender.
Not your gender. What upset me was the scrying. I want to know if that was legitimate.
What did I say?
You actually don't remember, do you?
No, but I apologize for upsetting you. But if you don't want to be upset, I know where you can get a guaranteed positive tarot reading. All flowers and happiness. You like that?
Again, showing how little you know me. I'm not one of your astronomy colleagues looking for evidence to support pre-existing beliefs.
Can you say what you want from this reading?
My best friend died. My son is renouncing his upbringing and identifies me as the villain of the story. And to top it off, my belief in a rational universe has been shaken. Not to be disparaging, but by visiting you, I'm clutching at straws. Can you help me?
Wow. Hold my hands. Look into my eyes.
They hold hands.
Here's some tissues.
Since my birthday, I'm a regular waterworks. Part of me thinks I'm falling to pieces. Marcia would make a joke like, what's the difference between a world-class brain researcher and a crying woman? I can't come up with a punchline.
You know what I like about you? Your bravery. When something scares you, you try to find out more instead of hiding from it. I can see where Tyler gets some of his most attractive traits.
As well as his obnoxiousness.
Guess it's a package deal. I wrote up some questions just in case you were serious. Look them over.
Linda reads the questions.
Now, keeping these questions in mind, I want you to select 10 cards from the deck.
The chosen cards are laid out face up in a deliberate pattern.
What interesting images.
Do any of the cards jump out at you?
This one, a young man with a headache. It has to make it worse having that bird pecking at his head.
What else do you see?
Well, in the background, there's a happy figure. The birds are flying above his head instead of attacking him.
This is weird. I got the exact same card, 5 of Swords, when I dealt the cards for myself, in response to more or less the same question.
What question?
Is there any aspect of your relationship with Tyler that feels blocked?
What a coincidence.
Especially since you and I have such different relationships with Tyler. Pretty much the opposite.
Opposite how?
As his mother, you have an ongoing relationship for the rest of your life. Mine began recently and most like ended recently.
I see it differently. Tyler and I are moving apart. As he gets older, his world gets larger. His relationship with me becomes a smaller part of his life. As my world shrinks, my relationship with Tyler becomes more important to me and less important to him. Your relationship might not be over. If you reconcile, you could be a couple for decades, the most important person in each other's life. You think you will?
I thought you weren't here to advocate for him.
I'm not. Just curious. You consulted the cards yourself. What did they say?
The cards don't exactly give direct answers in that sense.
What came up?
Tyler's a mess of contradictions. He's romantic and playful, tribute to the way you brought him up.
Nothing to do with me. He was born that way.
He gets wrapped up in his head. It doesn't trust that people will like him, puts up walls to hide himself.
What's his best feature?
He's as smart as I am. Almost never find that in a man.
What's his worst feature?
That's a very long list. How much time do you have?
Better get some more of that sharp ginger tea.
Lights out. Scene 6. Setting a week after Linda's birthday. The breakfast room. At Rise, Linda waits for Tyler. Tyler enters.
Hi, Mom.
Go back and ring the bell.
What?
You heard me.
Doorbell sound.
Come in.
Tyler re-enters.
Happy now?
I haven't been happy for about a week now.
I'm really sorry.
Only 5 reallys?
1,000 times really sorry.
That makes it better.
I wish I could take back everything I said,
Why?
because I hurt you.
I've been thinking about your accusations. I believe you were correct in several particulars.
Don't be like this.
Like what? Rational? Willing to look past my feelings to examine the substance of your complaints? You were right about that. I am annoyingly rational.
It's a wonderful quality. It makes you who you are.
I'm glad you approve, because you share that particular defect. I have a few process changes to discuss.
Process changes. Sounds like a departmental meeting. But, okay. I have a few things to discuss too.
Shall we start with my list? Item 1, advice. I have, as you point out, given you an excess of advice, which is unhelpful and frustrating to both parties.
I was angry. I overstated.
Not now, Tyler. Give me the courtesy of listening to me before you respond.
Sorry.
In the future, I will be more mindful. In particular, I resolve not to function as your academic advisor. The university provides adequate services.
Is that still item 1?
This concludes item 1. Item 2, access. You will no longer come and go as you please in my house. When you wish to visit, you will make arrangements. I will treat your house with the same respect. Item 3, Sunday dinner.
I assumed you didn't want to see me last week.
Correct. Furthermore, you are released from the obligation to attend further Sunday dinners.
It's not an obligation. I enjoy it.
How often do I hear at the last minute you can't make it?
Not that often.
I will from time to time arrange a Sunday dinner to which you will be invited. I'm planning one next month, to which I will also invite James and Annie. I believe it will have a remedial effect for all involved.
Well, as far as that goes, I should tell you that you might as
Wait your turn. Item 4, emotional investment. I will no longer allow my personal happiness to depend on your life choices. It's unreasonable to remain emotionally invested when I have so little influence. I will continue to take an interest in your doings, but only the kind of interest one might take in following a sports team.
My turn now?
I will reserve any other items until after your list.
With regards to item 1, I had a talk with Dr. Raskin. I told him I'm changing my dissertation topic.
Interesting. Although, as I said, no concern of mine. How did he react?
Pretty upset. But he agreed to set up a new committee, including a theoretical physicist from Stanford.
Ooh, Hasenfelter? She'd be great.
Hope so. Regarding item 2, I'm going to find an apartment closer to the university.
Unnecessary.
I've been mooching off you for too long.
Mooching? This is the family estate, such as it is. Both my house and the cottage will be yours when I die.
It would be better for now.
You only have a few years of graduate school. After that, you'll get a job far away. Why move now? Why waste the money?
I'm depriving you of the income you get from renting the cottage.
I know it annoys you, but I insist on being rational. We both know it isn't a matter of money.
That's true. It's about emotions and relationship. And emotions are something that one of us has difficulty discussing.
I would stipulate that our relationship will endure whether you are living next door or in Timbuktu. I note further that our relationship is currently undergoing a period of strain
We'll
and
get over it faster if we aren't jammed right up against each other like this.
I would counter that your moving away would be, in effect, turning your back on the problem, refusing to deal with it. Can you give me an example, in science or in life, when ignoring a problem furthers the solution?
They do say absence makes the heart go fonder.
Different context and meaning, bad example.
What seems to me is you're acting desperate. The way you're virtually begging me to stay undercuts your intellectual argument. I think we talked about it enough.
I don't.
It is my turn now. We'll go back to you later if you like.
Proceed.
Next item. Your dinner next month. Don't bother inviting Annie. She won't come. I haven't gotten a single response to my texts, emails, or phone calls. If she knows I'll be there, she won't come.
If things are problematic between you, I suggest you find a resolution. If it comes to a choice between you and her, she's the one who'll be invited.
Mom, you're supposed to be on my side.
I had a nice meeting with her. She gave me a tarot reading.
You don't believe in tarot.
Things have changed. I have a new understanding of many things, including my relationship with you.
You're making too much of what I said at your birthday party. It was a momentary aberration. I was wrong, and I apologize again.
Apology accepted, but it doesn't change my plans for dinner.
What you don't understand about yourself is you're trying to get back at me for being mean.
Would you like to know what you don't understand about yourself?
Not really.
The thing is, I had an interesting insight about you. Knowing how you feel about advice from me, I would normally keep it to myself, but it relates to our discussion.
About the dinner?
About you moving out of the granny flat. You've had a series of short relationships. Many of your breakups came after you revealed your cross-dressing.
I cannot believe Annie told you that.
Your interpretation of the breakup was that the girlfriend was unable to deal with the revelation, but apparently some of the women accepted it with complete equanimity.
Says who?
Annie knows some of them. She says the problem was your discomfort that they knew about your cross-dressing. You created a pretext to break up.
Ridiculous. And I don't see what that has to do with anything.
Now that I know about your cross-dressing, after you've hidden it away all these years, now you're uncomfortable around me. That's why you want to move away.
Wrong in so many ways. In the first place, I've gotten over any discomfort over cross-dressing. That was my point in coming out to you. I'm not ashamed at all. Not the tiniest little bit.
I see.
Don't give me that I see stuff. You know what else? Even if there were a tiny grain of truth in what you say, there isn't, but even if there were, you'd think I would want to hear it from you? Have I not made it clear what I think about your meaningless, self-serving psychological insights? If I want that sort of thing, I will make an appointment with a clinical psychologist who has the skills to analyze a person based on actual insight, not a bunch of hearsay from jilted lovers with an axe to grind.
Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up.
You absolutely shouldn't have. I say we make a process change that you don't give me advice unless I ask for it.
I agree to that. Let's call that item 5. But before item 5 takes effect, I have one more piece of advice.
I literally cannot believe you just said that. Was I not clear on what I just said?
Emails and texts are not doing the job. You might consider a different approach.
No advice. We just agreed.
Try a handwritten letter on paper or card. Annie likes cards.
Wait, is that true?
I wouldn't say it if it weren't.
Aren't we in the middle of an argument? Why are you helping me out with Annie?
Linda uses the James gesture on Tyler.
What's this? I totally do not understand you.
It's because I'm changing. You know what? You're also changing. You need to try a little harder to keep up.
I'm still going to move out.
That's your decision.
I don't suppose you know what kind of card she likes?
You have to figure that out on your own. Maybe you should run along now.
Okay. But Mom,
Yes, dear?
I love you.
I love you too, Tyler.
Tyler exits. Lights out. End of play.